Excelsior!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Excelsior, the first episode of our Marvel podcast. I am your moderator, Christian Buckley, joined for the first time ever by my friend, Mr. Jack Martin.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited about this.
I'm very excited for the show. I've been wanting to do this for a long time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. For sure.
And making it all happen over on our mixer, we have Mr. Pat Maroney.
I don't know if you can hear me, but hi.
Say louder.
Hi. Thank you for having me. I don't
Sorry.
know what to say.
Yeah. All right. So, Pat's been getting it happen. Very appreciative of him. So, what the show is pretty much going to be a not full review of the Marvel Cinematic Universe because started up a little late, but we're going to be going through today phase 1 of the MCU, ranking that, going into eventually leading up to a movie every week on the road to Endgame in April. And it's not limited to MCU. We're going to be talking MCU news, some rumors maybe. We'll always give spoiler warnings. But games are fair game, comic books, anything Marvel, because Marvel's awesome.
Marvel is awesome. I can confirm.
Yeah, it's very much awesome. So, yeah, thanks for joining us on this journey.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun time.
Definitely.
I know you and I kept up with kind of funny vids last year when they were doing their MCU review for Infinity War, so I'm glad we're doing something similar, but a little something different, so that'll be fun.
One more thing, I guess, while we're pitching the show, well, it's the early hours. I've noticed a lot of people don't really go super in-depth with Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Not saying that they don't have depth to go into depth with.
Right.
But, yeah, I think both of us and Pat also can appreciate more detailed aspects of movie making.
Yes, I think so too. I think just generally with Marvel movies, they are kind of for like the top level, like kind of a bird's eye view. But when you we all study film, so when you actually study film and you know stuff about that, you can kind of go more in depth with these. Yeah, because these are made by people who obviously are love film and
for sure,
and take great inspiration from other films. So I think that'll be interesting to see with this show.
And going off of that too, I feel like the great thing about the Marvel films is that it's so accessible to at the same time.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you can, if anybody's a fan of Marvel, which at this point, you could walk into a cafeteria and just be like, hey, Marvel, and somebody would say something to you.
Yeah, seriously.
So, I just like how it's very approachable, and we're going to get into that. So, to start off our first episode, before we get into any news or anything, I have a game that I'm very excited about.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about this one, but we'll see.
I have a box right here.
I was wondering what this crayon box is for. Okay.
I've also been getting that question from people I've told about this.
Okay.
So, we know that certain actors in the MCU, like Chris Evans, Michael B. Jordan, they have a history with Marvel before their MCU roles. Yep. And with the pending, some would say, doom of Disney acquiring Fox, we're going to be getting some more Marvel characters. So we're going to be playing a game called Cast Me Baby One More Time, where one of us is going to pull a name out of this crayon box, and we're each going to have 1 minute to cast this character. Pat will be the deciding vote on who gets the actual casting.
Okay.
So hopefully by the end of this, I don't think we're going to get through all of these throughout the show's run.
Yeah.
But we might have a snazzy little X-Men or Fantastic Four cast lined up.
All right.
Post-Endgame. So do you want to pick the first one?
Yeah, this is very dangerous. Okay. I have this here paper.
All right.
Mystique.
Oh, boy. Okay. So
and we had no preparation for this.
Oh, no. This is completely random.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to pull up a timer.
All right.
You're going to have 1 minute. Do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first.
Okay. Let's see. So 60 seconds. You ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Go.
Beyonce. Here's my case. Beyonce is making waves with her music. She is no longer just a musician. She is a political force to be reckoned with. We, of course, all remember Foxy Cleopatra from Goldmember. She's a great actress. She can do it all. She can sing. She can dance. She's Mystique. She's mysterious. She's wonderful. It's Beyonce. That's really all I have.
All right. Well, you got 30 seconds left. Are you sure you want to call it there?
That's it.
Okay, that's your argument. Those were some polls for her film history.
Sure.
So,
You're like an IMDb.
Yeah.
Okay. I got it. Okay. Starting time now.
Okay.
Saoirse Ronan because Lady Bird has shown me. Also, this is one of the only things I've seen her in. She is transformative. You know what Mystique is? Transformative. That is in her character. That's in her DNA. That is in her genes. And now I had Saoirse Ronan in mind for another actor or another character, I should say. So that's going to be interesting if we ever get to that. But 30 seconds left. Mystique is kind of a 2D character. Very one-dimensional with the way she's been portrayed so far on screen. Full offense to Jennifer Lawrence for her performance as Mystique so far. But yeah, Saoirse Ronan, I think, is very good at playing the angsty teen, as we've seen before. And Mystique, I think that would be an interesting approach, especially if they want to do a younger X-Men cast, which I'm sure they will want to keep the X-Men a big player moving forward. And time.
I don't know if this is like a fair way to base it, but it's kind of like I'm basing it off of who could beat the other one up. So I'm gonna have to go Beyonce.
All right.
Okay, fair.
Fascinating. I like that choice though, Saoirse Ronan.
Saoirse Ronan.
That's a more logical choice, I would say.
I mean, I feel like that my original choice for Saoirse Ronan, I want her to be in a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
I was gonna have her be
Dark Phoenix.
Jean Grey.
Jean Grey, yeah, makes sense.
So I'm writing down first cast member for our MCU Fox characters is Beyonce playing Mystique.
Hell yeah.
So we'll continue that next week. And
wait, this is permanent?
Oh yeah.
Are people gonna get mad at me for like picking certain other people?
I mean, it's written down now, so
I like
this
that.
is live with your choice.
It's in the Excelsior scripture here.
Yes. So next topic. This past weekend, we're recording this on Friday, February 8th. This is going to be going live on Monday, February 10th.
11th?
11th?
10th? I don't know.
So this past weekend was the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We are from New England, so congratulations to the Patriots.
Touchdown Tommy, kid.
That's true. So beginning of the game, we knew this going in. We knew we were going to get a look at some upcoming summer blockbusters, but none more exciting, of course, than Avengers Endgame. We got a good 30 seconds, I'd say.
Yeah, there was like a 30-second TV spot.
So I want to ask you,
Mm-hmm.
I know some people are sensitive with spoilers. What do you think? Because last year we did get a shorter Infinity War tease at the Super Bowl. Do you think this gave you enough? Do you think this was too spoilery?
I preferred this over the trailer they released however many months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like watching trailers for new movies anymore because they give everything away.
Yeah.
Especially once you get closer to the movie, they start running out of material for trailers.
Mm-hmm.
So they just start adding more stuff and they honestly spoil it. I really liked, this is a tangent, I really liked with Infinity War, they made that fake running sequence where the Hulk and like literally every Avenger was running towards the camera and that didn't show up.
Mm-hmm.
So if they do that for Endgame, that would be great. But for this specific trailer, what I really liked about it was a tone-setting trailer. So it opens up with like New York, no lights on at all. Like everything is just so desolate.
I loved that the empty baseball stadium.
Yeah, that was
That
great.
was great.
That was absolutely
I
great.
loved that.
Was that the Mets stadium?
City Field, yeah.
The Mets?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's just a Mets
That's
a
the Mets,
stadium
man.
at all. So, but no, I really like this trailer. Like I said, I usually don't watch trailers, but it's so quick. It's like 30 seconds. I think it's kind of perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Like, I guess, do we know what's going on plot-wise now? Because it seems like it is a little bit in the future, because it seems like at least a month or two, or could be up to years, for Cap and all of them has passed.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen some speculation based on Black Widow's hair that sort of nails down a time period. I, in my head, was just expecting it to be within 6 months of the end of Infinity War.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it being further than that, from what they've shown at least. Obviously, there's rumors of time travel going on, so we could go far future. But yeah, I liked this. I liked the teaser. I liked that it was, like you said, very tonal focused. I would appreciate if they kept this sort of consistency going on through the rest of the marketing campaign. Who knows if they will. I know Jeremy Conrad, who works for MCU Cosmic, a very good fan site, recommended Manabyte on Twitter. He has been saying and like reporting on rumors saying that the marketing for Endgame will not include any characters who got snapped.
Really?
Yeah. So core team, the people who survived Thanos, will be the only ones featured in marketing.
Makes sense. That's pretty good.
Right. Spider-Man gets into a whole separate thing because that's a Sony movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I liked it. I really hope they explore that whole half of civilization's gone.
Mhm.
Like, what do we do now?
Right.
Because I feel like there's such good story things you can do there, especially for a superhero film. And then, like, you can get conflict coming back out of it, seeing, like, now we're overcrowded, we were overpopulated, we just never realized it until it was solved.
That's a good point. That'd be really interesting.
Mhm.
If some people were like, honestly, like, yeah, it's a little screwed up, but I mean,
He was right.
he was kind of right. Like,
Yeah.
that would be interesting to see, actually.
I have a little theory.
Yeah.
That's how they're going to introduce the mutants.
Oh,
And that's how you get the hatred of the mutants going on, like, just scapegoating, like, oh, mutants are here now.
Mhm.
They're not us. They're taking all our supplies and food and jobs
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
That would be fascinating to see, especially like so quick after the X-Men like
Mhm.
officially joined Marvel.
Yeah.
And I mean, we will start seeing those movies pop up soon. I mean,
Mhm.
maybe not soon, but like eventually.
Yeah,
and
with
that'd be
it, I
cool
think-
to at least plant the seed.
Yeah, well, definitely, because it sounds like the Disney deal is closing soon.
Yeah.
So I think the speculated start of that is going to be like early 2020s.
Okay.
So seeds definitely can be planted if the deal gets in place.
Yeah.
So yeah, excited for the future of Endgame's marketing.
Do you think? It seemed to me like Iron Man in this trailer was like immediately after Nebula
Oh,
found him,
mhm.
and it seemed like Cap and all of them were like months after. Do you think we'll be like jumping back and forth in time throughout the movie, or do you think it's gonna be like it is all like in the future at some point or another?
That's a good point. I feel like, I don't know. I trust the Russos to do multiple timelines.
Absolutely. God bless.
Yeah. That does bring up an interesting point though about like, because how long could Tony survive in that spaceship? You
Yeah.
know, like if we're saying 6 months for Cap,
Mm-hmm.
is it 6 months for Tony? That's a
Right.
good point. I didn't think of that actually. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I think maybe with Tony, I think the film will probably start off with Tony,
Yeah.
and then eventually, it's like 6 months later, and
Mhm.
then pick it up from there. They're
Mhm.
both 6 months later, but who knows?
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if we're going too long on this, but Joshua Yale of IGN pointed out something, and it was a really like kind of nitpicky thing, but it could have been something. It looked like the framing of the characters in certain scenes allowed for a person to be in between certain
Mhm.
characters, and he was saying it's maybe like Captain Marvel or someone.
Yeah. That's such a strange observation to me.
It is to me too, but I was
'Cause,
like,
yeah.
I'm interested in it. Yeah.
Because I was talking to it with a friend and trying to figure out, like, is it like real? Like, because we were debating it. I feel like if you had another person there, yeah, it would fill in the empty space, but
Right.
then they'd be awkwardly close to everybody else.
That's true.
So I don't know. It could be them editing out stuff because, like you said about Infinity War, they did that. They fake out before. So, yeah.
That'd be hilarious if none of this was in the movie.
Oh, that'd be so good.
Wouldn't put it past me, or wouldn't put it past them, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, who knows though?
Yeah, well, I hope they keep this sort of momentum going with everything
I do
else.
too. Yeah.
Moving on, though, speaking of Fox and Disney sort of on the business end of things, this past week, Disney had their Q3 2018 earnings. Sorry, 2017, the fiscal year, because, fiscal year calendars are
it
so
doesn't
weird.
make sense.
So they had their first meeting of 2019. This
Mhm.
is the Q3 report for some year. Whatever year Ragnarok and The Last Jedi came out in.
Yeah.
Bob Iger was on the line talking with some other Disney executives, talking about how everything's been going for him, how they're expecting this year to go with Captain Marvel, with Endgame, and some person, I forget who it was exactly, on the press asked Bob Iger what the plan is moving forward for Fox R-rated Marvel content. Because as we know, that whole entire ordeal is up in the air right now because
yeah.
like Dark Phoenix is still coming out and we don't know what's happening with Deadpool, and that Gambit Channing Tatum thing I think just got canceled finally. So
Finally got canceled. That has been up in the air for years. Jesus.
yeah,
We'll see about that one.
Yeah. So as of right now, and actually as of I think 2017 also, Bob Iger said whenever this Fox acquisition was brought up originally that they're still open to doing R-rated Marvel films.
Mhm.
I guess everybody forgot that because headlines this week were Bob Iger confirms Marvel will continue, or at least consider continuing making R-rated films. And I have a quote here. This is from the earnings call. Bob Iger speaking. We do believe there is room for the Fox properties to exist without significant Disney influence over the nature of the content, meaning that we see that there is certainly popularity amongst Marvel fans for the R-rated Deadpool films. For instance, we're going to continue in that business, and there might be room for more of that. So what's your big takeaway there? Like Deadpool, do you think they're going to keep going with Deadpool because it makes so much money?
I think they have to.
Yeah.
I mean, this was more of an editing issue, but that when they released the the PG-13 version this past December,
past Christmas, yeah. I didn't get to see that, by the way.
I didn't either. I honestly had no interest in seeing it. I like Deadpool 2, but I wouldn't have seen a PG-13 version of it because it just doesn't make sense.
I was interested from a concept.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I feel like they had such bad press from that and just such bad feelings from that from fans.
Yeah.
That I don't think they could ever do that again. Even though I like I said, I think that was more with editing, just because that movie was made to be rated R and then had to take a lot of stuff out.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in the minority where I feel like if you write Deadpool to be PG-13, he can still be very funny.
Yeah, definitely.
And feel like the character.
I think it could work. I don't think it has any business working though.
Oh yeah.
Because like Deadpool came out and wasn't it the most successful R-rated movie?
Yeah, and
like
I think
opening weekend or something.
I think Deadpool 2 just became the highest-grossing Fox X-Men movie ever.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for them to release it R-rated, and we were talking about this a little bit before the show. Like Disney, like you were saying, Disney does make R-rated movies, but under like Miramax and these types of companies that you were saying.
Yeah, historically they do. I don't know if they continue to, because I think Miramax might be gone.
Yeah.
But Disney in the past has produced through Miramax and through Touchstone, like Robert Rodriguez films, Tarantino, I'm pretty sure, Scream, stuff like that. So
I feel like this only fits. I mean, people are mostly thinking this fits with Deadpool, but I mean, more Logan movies. I know, obviously, with the ending of Logan, but more like Wolverine-esque movies, those types of things. I'd be interested in seeing, honestly.
Yeah, I think X-Men. I don't think the general X-Men films in the MCU will go for the R rating, but I do think there are characters, and even within the Disney-owned characters, there's some capabilities, because also there's been rumblings about that Black Widow movie that's being worked on.
That would make sense.
That is going to be the first rated R Marvel Studios film.
Really? Okay.
No confirmation on that. It got debunked a while ago, but just got brought back I think last week.
Yeah. I mean, it makes total sense.
Yeah, especially if you see something like Winter Soldier and see the extents they tried to go to, and just wonder what a full Black Widow film would be like. But yeah, I think also if they do make an R-rated label, you have the avenue to bring back some characters who their future's a little up in the air right now, like Punisher, Daredevil.
Oh, absolutely.
Luke Cage even.
Yeah. And I feel like they're really crossing the line with PG-13 right now, and especially in Infinity War. Like there are some parts in that movie where I'm like, oof, I don't know how they got away with that. Like just like the visceral like spoilers for Infinity War, but like the stabbing of Tony Stark by Thanos, like that part in particular, the theater went silent when I was there, and I was like, that is intense. So I can see them kind of pushing the boundaries with that. Honestly, I don't think they would ever do an Avengers R-rated movie.
I don't think so either.
Yeah, but that'd be interesting to see, honestly.
Yeah. If there is one character, though, that is not currently being talked about, that could get an R rating that you feel like wouldn't just be a publicity thing, like it feels right being rated R, who would you pick?
I like what you were saying with, Punisher, but specifically Daredevil.
Yeah. Because
I like the second season, but the first and the third season of Daredevil are incredible, and that character absolutely lends himself to an R rating, and it would make so much sense. And I hope they do resurrect that character. I'm sure they wouldn't use Charlie Cox.
I would hope they would. Man.
I hope they would too.
I love him as Daredevil.
Oh, he's fantastic, but who knows, honestly. But I do think that character in particular is a perfect rated R character.
Yeah, Daredevil has a brutality to him that I appreciate, that I feel like isn't really touched on with characters who are like similar to him, like Batman, I would say.
Yeah.
That's an easy comparison. Yeah, I know a lot of people want to see a Moon Knight film or a Blade film.
Blade, yeah.
Which, again, there's a ton of characters that could work, but if it has to be one, it would be Daredevil for me.
I think so, yeah.
Because he's such a cool character, and the way it ended, I'm pining for more.
It's so sad. That is one of those things that just made me so sad, because I was so happy to have season 3 released after years.
Yeah, it's been a while
since season 2. So, oh well.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, well, you have to imagine too that Kingpin is going to be like, especially with Spider-Man coming up,
Oh,
and like
definitely.
he's definitely going to be some big player in the future,
Mm-hmm.
especially if he's kicking off Phase 4.
Yeah.
Like Kingpin's like a giant Spider-Man character.
I could see Vincent D'Onofrio showing up in the end credits
for Far From
for
Home.
Far From Home. Wouldn't be surprised.
That'd be pretty cool. So that's it for news on this week's episode. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be discussing our ranking of MCU Phase 1, talking about our number 1 pick, a little more in depth, but we'll be right back.
You ready for another bout?
What, you getting sleepy?
Welcome back. Now in the second half of the show, we are going to be ranking Phase 1 of the MCU. Not a full, detailed explanation about each film and our opinions on them, because I know we have many. But we're going to get more in depth the higher up we go on this list. Jack and I both have our own lists. I think Pat also has a list
I do.
that we will get to. So I'm feeling we like bounce back off one each other.
Yeah, sure.
Do you want to go first for your number 5 or number 6, I should say?
Yeah. So the worst one. I hope we agree on this. The Incredible Hulk.
Okay, yeah. Incredible Hulk is also my 6.
Yeah.
So yeah, Hulk is. I appreciate how weird the Incredible Hulk is.
Oh, it's so weird.
It's so different
Yeah.
from like the entire MCU, which I get a kick out of. Ed Norton's cool.
Ed Norton is cool. Mark Ruffalo's better.
Oh, 100%.
Obviously,
100%.
But that's just fascinating to see him in that role. But the Incredible Hulk, like just a very brief thing. Like Incredible Hulk is just
So strange.
it's so dark for a Marvel movie. Like it's
Yeah.
not a Marvel movie. It's a Universal movie, but like
Mhm.
obviously it's in the MCU. But
Mhm.
it's just so dark compared to, especially Iron Man came out like months before,
Yeah.
and that had so much humor to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Hulk is also my number 6.
Yeah.
I appreciate it for what it is. It's this cool, unique blemish on the history of the MCU.
It
that,
is absolutely a blemish.
It's
on the
worth
MCU.
it's worth looking at. It's worth revisiting. But we're in better places now with Hulk. Greener pastures.
I would agree. Greener pastures.
Okay, so let's just move on after
Yeah,
that one.
yeah,
What
yeah.
is your number 5?
Number 5, I think you will disagree on this one. I used to absolutely adore this movie, and it's Thor.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it last year for the watch along leading up to Infinity War,
Mm-hmm.
and something just didn't spark with me the way it used to with that
Okay.
movie. Yeah.
That's fair.
Mm.
My number 5 is Iron Man 2.
Okay.
I know you like this movie more than most people.
I do,
Yeah.
oddly enough.
Iron Man 2 I appreciate also more than Hulk. But yeah, Iron Man 2 is cool. Good introduction to Black Widow. I
Yeah.
like the chemistry between Robert Downey and Don Cheadle in this one way more than I liked Terrence Howard and Robert's
Yeah.
chemistry.
That was one of the notes I was taking when I was doing this. Terrence or Don Cheadle's just he's for that role definitely.
Felt very natural too.
Yeah, definitely.
Natural placement. So bad villain though.
Yeah, real bad villain. Real bad villain.
What is your number 4?
My number 4 is Iron Man 2.
All right.
But this, like Iron Man 2, I feel was the first real step into a greater universe. I mean, Iron Man 1, after like the end credit scene with Sam Jackson,
Mhm.
obviously Nick Fury, like we're getting there, and we know that like it was purposeful to like set up the MCU. But I feel like Iron Man 2, especially with Black Widow and Sam Jackson coming in as like a full-on character, really started to set up the MCU in a way that Iron Man didn't, I think.
Yeah. It's it also set the tone, I feel like, for the way we think about supporting characters.
Yeah, definitely.
Because yeah, War Machine, Black Widow,
Mhm.
Sam Jackson, even Happy in
Yeah,
that film.
I love Happy.
Yeah, he's great.
John Favreau directed Iron Man 2, right?
He did, yeah.
Okay. That was his last MCU direction, right?
It was, yes. I think he might have done some like second unit directing on some other film. I think it might have been Infinity War. I don't remember.
Really? Oh wow.
I think. Like I know it's something else he did like
Yeah.
assistant directing on, but could have been Spider-Man. I just remember reading that somewhere.
This is when he got really upset at MCU and went off and made Chef,
Oh,
literally
yeah.
about
Yeah.
Marvel. Low key.
So where are we? Number 4.
Mm-hmm.
My number 4 is Captain America: The First Avenger. Great movie. Really enjoy it. This is the top 4. I feel like are like good, great for me.
Yep.
At least 3 stars or higher. Cap 1, I appreciate all these movies, but Cap 1, I like that it's a period piece. I like that it focuses on Steve Rogers as like a superhero in the era where superheroes were actually being created
Definitely.
in the real world. Star Spangled Man, I love that. I know Pat does not like that. We were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Shaking his head right now. Yeah. Honestly, the only reason Cap isn't my third is because I like a good montage.
Mhm.
They do 2 montages in this film.
Yep.
Second one is unforgivable because there's like a period of time where he's supposed to be this badass commander, captain, commanding his like elite squadron.
Right.
And they throw it in a montage.
This is the one where he's like climbing on top of that huge tank. And all
Yeah,
that thing.
like the worst CG shot in this
Yeah.
entire franchise.
I must say, Phase 1, real bad CG. Real bad CG.
4 years that they condensed into pictures.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
That's a whole TV show, basically.
Yeah.
Like yeah.
So what's your number 4?
Okay, my number 4. So I did my Hulk was at the bottom, 6, and then
Mhm.
Thor. I said that right, and then I said Iron Man 2.
Yes.
Okay, it's 3 now, right? Aren't I on 3?
Yes, because you started. My bad.
Okay, my bad. Okay, my number 3 is Iron Man 1.
Okay.
And you can start to think about what's coming up next. But yeah, Iron Man 1. I adore this movie. Like, it's really great. It's not towards the upper part of me in terms of the greater MCU.
Mhm.
For Phase 1, I think obviously it's up there.
Mhm.
I mean, this is where it started. I think this introduced the trend of bad Marvel villains, though.
Yeah.
Like, just
Right out
really
the gate.
terrible. Just really terrible Marvel
Yeah.
villain. And of course, Terrence Howard is just not War Machine.
Mhm.
But I think this is where we see the humor that's not normally seen in like the other superhero movies from the 2000s.
Mhm.
Even with Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, like Sam Raimi Spider-Man, you don't really get that humor that should be in a Marvel movie.
Mhm.
Like, I think they did that so great with Spider-Man later on with Tom Holland as that role. But
Yeah.
really, like, this is where they set the tone with Marvel,
Mhm.
and I think they did a good job with it.
Yeah, huge shout out to Jon Favreau, man. Because
Absolutely.
he like does not get enough credit.
He doesn't, yeah. He's the first director
Yeah.
in the MCU, and he really, really, really did a good job at setting the tone.
Mhm. Like Feige chose him
Mhm.
still, so like yeah.
Yeah,
But like Favreau, man, he's the one who like kickstarted this entire
yeah,
thing.
seriously.
My third, maybe an unpopular choice.
Let's do it.
Number 3 for me is the Avengers.
Okay. Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah. So
I'm seeing where this list is going now.
yeah. So Avengers for me, I love this movie to death.
Mm-hmm.
One of the coolest cinematic experiences going to a theater. I think I saw this movie 6 times
Okay.
when it came out. I saw it opening night. I saw it the day after, so within 24 hours.
Oh my God.
And then I think 3 or 4 other times within the following weeks, I was talking to my friends. It's like, oh, you haven't seen Avengers yet?
Mm-hmm.
I'll go with you. Just like
Yeah.
inviting myself, making plans to go see it again because it's so good. It's so cool. But it does not age very well, my friend.
It does not.
Yeah. I don't know if this is just because of the time period
Mhm.
or Joss Whedon being the director. But like going back to this movie now, and I mean this in the best way possible, it feels like it was a made-for-TV movie.
Oh, definitely.
Like
I
obviously,
absolutely understand that.
obviously the CG is like very expensive and like set pieces are crazy big and
Mhm.
like it's a blockbuster at its core.
Yeah.
But like visually, there's just something off about it, and like the CG doesn't age super well in that film.
No.
Especially, my biggest issue is the fact that so much of the Avengers is reliant on the spectacle of them all being together.
Yeah.
That upon repeat viewings wears off like fast.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like the highlight of that film also is the Hulk
Mm-hmm.
because that is his introduction as Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, Avengers is timeless. Avengers is like a classic, but yeah,
Yeah.
does not hold up as well as my top 2.
I'll get into that more later because
Mhm.
we'll talk more in depth about our number ones here. But yeah, Avengers. We'll see about that one later.
Yeah. What's your next one?
Cap 1.
All right.
I really like this movie.
It's a very good.
It is so goddamn cheesy,
Yeah.
but I still like it.
Mhm.
CG is really terrible. I
Mhm.
watched this a couple nights ago, and when Cap was running through like 1940s Brooklyn,
Oh yeah.
like just not 1940s Brooklyn.
Not the best.
No, it's really silly.
Also,
Yeah.
sorry to cut you off.
No,
the
no.
shot of Hydra, like the army of Hydra, where it's like the one guy doing the hail thing.
Oh yeah,
And it's like a million of them.
it's just
it's
the same guy.
pose. It's
Oh
the
my
same
God.
exact like lighting on him. It's
Yeah.
something.
Argus Filch shout out from Harry Potter.
oh yeah, he's,
He's
at the
in there,
beginning.
yeah. Yeah, just this is a really weird movie. This is the first one, or this is the last one before the Avengers, right?
Yes.
Okay, 2011. I used to not like this movie like at all, but I feel like I have a greater appreciation for it because of Winter Soldier and because of Civil War. I just really, really, really like the character of Captain America.
Me too.
Like, I feel like we'll get into it later, but the Avengers kind of messed it up.
Yeah.
But like the film itself, the Avengers messed it up. But in this movie, I think he's great. He's someone I really like want to follow and like see what he's doing.
Yeah.
The CG of him as Skinny Steve is just really terrible, and it was really terrible when it released.
It might be because I watched this on a DVD, and when it came out, I was just a little dumb kid that didn't understand how movies worked. But I was like, I believed it.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think the first time, again, this is gonna make me sound like an idiot. I was like, oh, he bulked up. Like when I first saw it.
This
like
is Christian Bale. He really goes all out.
Yeah.
I have a fun fact about the transformation scene.
Oh sure.
So when he pops out of that test tube, when he's all buff and like they slather him with like butter, like it wasn't even oil, like they just put a stick of butter on him. I had a presentation on memes in one of my classes, and I made a meme of that. I did a side-by-side of Texas Roadhouse buns and Chris Evans, and I was like, spot the difference. And I showed that in my class, and I was like, yeah, this is a meme I made. One side is Texas Roadhouse buns, one side is Chris Evans from the first Captain America. One of them is a tasty treat, and the other one is Texas Roadhouse buns. And it just quickly moved on from that.
That's good.
It got some laughs. It was in an all-girls class, too. I was like one of the only guys. So, yeah.
Also, I'll give a shout out with Cap 1, like tonally, again. It feels like a really good, pulpy Indiana Jones-ish.
Yeah, it does. It does have that Indiana Jones feel to it. I didn't pick up on that. Yeah, that's a good observation.
Yeah. There's one thing, though, I don't vibe with Cap, which I'm going to get into in my number one topic.
Okay.
And that is Marvel. I miss these days. Marvel stopped shooting on film for Captain America.
Is that true?
Yeah, that's the first film they went to digital. And I feel like that would have just been perfect. Like, this is a film snobby thing right now, but
definitely.
like, especially revisiting Iron Man and Thor and Iron Man 2 even, like, seeing the way those films look with the grain, the texture and everything, adds like a grit to Marvel that is kind of missing now. Like, it feels a little more artificial, but like still looks fine, but yeah.
Yeah, especially in like the 1940s, like that just lends itself to that old timey look.
Because it does put like a filter on it, like a sepia sort of filter. That's when everything's in World War II time,
right?
And then modern day is like the weirdest shock because it's like, oh, he has like normal colored skin now, and like the neon signs and like everything looks like real life.
Yeah,
very jarring. But yeah, I would have appreciated if they stuck it just one more.
It makes so much sense, especially for that movie, for film.
So number 2 now.
Yeah, you're number 2.
My number 2 is Thor.
Okay, yeah.
This movie gets way too much hate.
That's true. I agree with you. It does get too much hate.
So now, if you're listening to this and you are still listening to this after that one, Thor above Avengers, I will say Thor does not have the best villain.
Okay,
best villain, I'll say. Because I love so much about this movie. I love how cheesy it is. I love that
so cheesy.
They got Kenneth Branagh, the guy who directed Hamlet, to direct a superhero film that's so like Shakespearean in the weirdest way possible, but it fits the character so well. Like and especially seeing how Thor's grown.
Yes.
Like from this, it's amplified kind of because like Thor's whole character arc throughout all of the movies, even in Ragnarok, is him growing from being this arrogant kid to being a worthy king. Seeing him act like this tool in the first Thor film when he's just like spouting off these like the weirdest ways to say sentences in the most Shakespearean way, I feel like that makes him more of a child. Like more, I don't know, it just adds to it. And even by the end of the first Thor, he's like more grounded, especially after his Natalie Portman relationship, which is unrivaled with the chemistry in most of the other MCU films.
Yeah, that's true. They are a good pair, I will say. I really despise Pepper Potts. Like, really despise Pepper Potts.
She's not used very well.
Yeah, I know some people like her, but I never fell for her for her character. Maybe because it's Gwyneth Paltrow, and I just don't like Gwyneth Paltrow. But I like Natalie Portman. The thing about Thor for me, I used to absolutely love this movie. It was probably like up there in phase 1 for me. It's my number 5 now. Maybe it's because going into Ragnarok and coming back and watching this movie where I'm like, I just don't like the old Thor anymore. Especially, I mean, later on in the Avengers, I'm like, I don't like you as a character right now.
Really?
Yeah, no, I don't. I do not like Thor as a character back in Phase 1.
That's so interesting because ever since I saw Thor, Thor was like my favorite Avenger.
Yeah.
Like throughout all of me, I even like we'll get to this next week, but like I even can stomach most of the Dark World.
Oof.
Yeah, I know. I got a soft spot for Thor. But,
Yeah. No, I mean, I do. I like I like the direction with his character. I think it's the way he speaks. It is just so
if you can't deal with the Shakespeare, I get that.
It's
but
just too much for me, I think, personally.
that movie has a lot of heart.
Yeah, I think it does.
I love so much about it, especially Anthony Hopkins. They got Anthony Hopkins to dress
Seriously?
up in the weirdest outfit ever,
Yeah.
and like he has that great like weird sound that he makes at Loki, and I love that movie.
Yeah. But you're not king.
I feel like it's like comparing like your wife to your ex-girlfriend, looking at Ragnarok to Thor.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Rose-colored glasses.
All right, guys. I get it. Nobody likes Thor. We can move on.
Yeah. All right, number 1 now?
I think so.
Okay.
Unless,
yeah.
Pat, do you want to rattle off yours?
Yeah, Pat.
Yeah, I changed mine since when we talked before the show, but I'm gonna go Hulk, Thor. I'll say Iron Man 2, Iron Man 1, Avengers, and then Captain America.
Wow.
Number 1.
Yeah, just because I love that whole World War II era.
Yeah, definitely.
feel, and just to kind of put a superhero movie in that. Granted, the CGI is terrible.
Oh,
I'm
it's
not much
awful.
of a film guy, as you guys are,
Mhm.
but like the story, kind of how certain characters ended up coming back to play a later role, like Bucky Barnes,
Right.
obviously, and then I forget what his girlfriend's name is, but her
Peggy.
Yeah,
Yeah, Peggy.
her niece, kind of dating Cap.
Oh, Sharon.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was a great movie, and I like how it kind of laid the seed work for the whole franchise.
Absolutely. An underrated movie, I would say.
Yeah, I also, going off of that, I feel like we have talked about Cap 1, but I feel like Cap has the best trilogy,
Absolutely.
all things considered.
Oh, absolutely.
Like most
Yeah.
consistent for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, number 1.
Yeah, number 1 for me is The Avengers still.
Mhm.
And honestly, all of these movies, as I was rewatching them, I'm like, I have no real affinity for any of them for Phase 1. Like, I don't love any of these. They're good to go back to and watch, but I don't absolutely love them.
It's a very different time with the MCU,
Oh, it's so different. It is so different.
which I really enjoy
Mm-hmm.
because where we are now, awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it's so cool that all these things are so interwoven, so dynamic, so much of a spectacle.
Yeah, definitely.
But Phase 1 is so, like I said, it has like a grit to it
It does, yeah.
that I kind of miss. There's a lot of weirdness in here, stuff that like doesn't mesh well, but I think it adds some charm to a lot of these.
Yeah, for sure.
And Avengers is very much the culmination of all of that weirdness of Phase 1.
Yeah, so when I saw Avengers in theaters, I thought it was like, okay. I know everyone was like so hyped about it, but even back then I was like, it was good, like it was fine. But as I continued watching it later on, I fell in love with it. But going back to it now, I'm like, oof, I don't know about this movie. Even though it's still my number 1, I'm gonna talk.
Okay, so you see where I was going from then.
Yeah. Oh no,
Okay.
I'm gonna talk a lot of crap about this. But like, I still, this is still my number 1, but I still have a lot of negative things to say about it.
Mhm.
The opening itself is way too long and way too awkward.
Mm.
Like, to open an Avengers movie with just a bunch of S.H.I.E.L.D. people and Loki.
Shout out to Coulson though.
Shout out to Coulson, of course. But it just didn't do it for me. That opening was just so soft for what that movie is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest of the movie pretty much is like, from there, they introduce the characters. I think they all do a pretty good job introducing the characters, especially Black Widow.
Yeah, that's paced very well.
Yeah, and the Hulk too, I think. And then after that, after they get Loki, the majority of the movie is on the helicarrier the whole time.
Yeah.
And I think it is just really boring. And I understand the back and forth between them, but I feel like I'm not the first person to say this, but every character in the Avengers is such a caricature of themselves.
Yeah.
Like, Cap is very rah-rah America. Tony Stark is kind of a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
Like all these characters are caricatures of themselves, and it's just kind of, it's bothersome because later on we see them like grow as characters, and in this movie they're so stunted as characters. I think Coulson and Kat, very cute, big fan of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think this movie gets good until the attack on the helicarrier.
Oh, okay.
Because that's when they're all divided and they realize, like, okay, we actually need to be together as a team. And I feel like that is when that movie really picks up, and it picks up so high, I think, after that.
everything I was saying before about my issues with the Avengers and how it holds up now is very much what you're talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
The first 2 acts, I feel like it's very character based and it's very like not like it's like I don't want to say vertical slice, but it's very much like time capsule of like this is this era, this is before these characters were fully realized. Cap, they did dirty. They did so dirty in that movie.
In the Avengers?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
I get like you wanted Avengers to sell with Iron Man because Iron Man was the huge one, but Cap's the leader.
He really is a leader, and especially nowadays, he's a leader.
Yeah, he's definitely come into it, which I appreciate. They actually went for that. But yeah, Avengers. Is there anything else you want to say about Avengers?
I mean, I like the Avengers.
Yeah, let's talk about the Battle of New York for a bit.
Oh, so yeah, I was gonna say, most movies have issues with their third act.
My number one sure does.
Yeah, like most movies have really bad issues with their third act. Yeah, and you'll get into it with yours. But the Avengers, personally, I think is the only good act in that movie is the third act.
The only great act.
The only great act is the third act, because that is really when the Avengers starts.
Yeah.
Is Act 3. And I think it's incredible.
Yeah.
Even though
definitely.
like people have issues with like mindless hordes of zombies or whatever, like kind of useless villains.
Yeah.
And I mean that makes sense, but I feel like for this type of a movie, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, it's very much about the spectacle.
It is about the spectacle, definitely.
I don't think the series fully started until that circular shot.
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely like the team is established. That's the moment.
I still get goosebumps every time I see that. I'm like, oh my god, they're doing it.
From the moment where there's like a nice like peaceful quiet for a little bit, Hulk shows up on the scooter. They have a little back and forth, and then he has the "I'm always angry" line, punches the thing.
Yeah.
Every time from that onward to the circle shot, chills.
Oh, it's awesome.
He clocked that snake too.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a weird whale alien thing.
A beetle whale with armor.
Was that the Chitauri?
The Chitauri whale, something. I forget what it's called, but
Ashley Johnson, voice actress from The Last of Us, is in the Avengers.
She is in there.
Yeah.
She had a bigger role too.
Yeah, they. I think did they cut her out?
Yeah, she's had a scene with Cap because like who cares about Cap, right? Guys, it's the Iron Man show. That's what.
That's true.
That's what the goal was for that film.
Yeah, he like rescued her in some building from some Chitauri warriors, and that I think she is in the actual final cut of that version where she's like, Captain America saved me, right?
Yeah, the thing I was referring to is a deleted scene where Cap is in his apartment in New York, and he sees it's after he has the meeting with Fury in the boxing gym.
Yep.
There's a scene where he gets like a folder. I think Peggy's in there, and like it's clear he's catching up on the time that he lost.
Sure.
Which does not get touched on until way later.
Winter Soldier, yeah.
But yeah, there's a scene where he's having coffee in some cafe, and the waitress is Ashley Johnson.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah, very cool.
There is one scene in the Avengers I got beef with though.
What is it?
It's that scene where where Cap wakes up, and for some reason they have him in a 1940s hospital.
That was from the first Cap, wasn't it?
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Retracted.
It bleeds in though. It definitely bleeds in
because
it's
right there.
The second post credit scene for Cap 1 is the first trailer for the Avengers.
And might I say, terrible trailer.
Such a bad trailer, dude.
Oh my god. That
was
like
the weird rock song.
Yeah, the weird rock song, and
it was like a fan trailer you'd find.
That's what I thought. I was like, this is a trailer that would release for like the Ben Affleck Daredevil. That's what that looked like. And I'm like, are you kidding me? It's 2012. Get it together, Marvel. That was so
I
bad.
just think it's a stupid move. Someone falls asleep and then wakes up in the future.
Yeah.
Just show them all the cool stuff you have now.
Yeah,
That's
it's
like what I would want to see.
I think they wanted to like not overwhelm him. I guess that was the mindset. But oh well. Yeah. What?
Don't overwhelm them, but throw them into an intergalactic war.
Yeah, that's true.
Full suit armor.
Yeah, like 3 weeks later.
That's so true.
Lasers, yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the Avengers. What's your number one?
My number one is Iron Man. Previously, I think last year when we went through the MCU films going up to Infinity War, Iron Man, I don't remember if it was my number one for Phase 1, but it sure as hell is now.
Oh, yeah.
Because, man, every time I go back to Iron Man, I always find a new thing to love about it. This time, it took me a couple times to try and like actually watch Iron Man this week because it's been a very busy week at college.
Oh, for sure.
But I watched the first 10 minutes of Iron Man probably like 3 times, and I am so impressed with how fast and how concise and how entertaining everything from the beginning of the film to him escaping feels. It's so tight, it's so compact, but there's so many good moments in there.
Yes.
And it's just focused on two characters who are speaking English the entire time. Also, you have the I'm blanking on the actor's name, the leader of the Ten Rings in that film.
Oh, I don't know the actor.
He has a few lines of English, but the relationship between Tony and Jensen, I feel like, is so integral. And then this is also why last time I went through these films, Iron Man 2 was higher than it is right now. But seeing his devotion, seeing his drive, and almost acting like a crusade of wanting to destroy his former legacy of being a weapons manufacturer, just feels lost in Iron Man 2.
Yeah.
And I really didn't pick up on it until this time around, because I thought Iron Man 2 was fine. But Iron Man 1, it really comes across as he may not be considering the repercussions of everything, but you genuinely believe that he thinks this is the right thing to do. And every single action he makes in this film is about the mission, as he puts it. I'll talk about my biggest negative. Man, I love Jeff Bridges, but
Donor.
Jeff Bridges is a good actor.
Yeah.
I think this is one of his worst performances.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
I think, go with me here, I think Tron Legacy is a better performance from Jeff Bridges than this
I never
film.
saw Tron Legacy.
Tron Legacy isn't that
but
bad.
I can believe you.
So, I think also, after the fact, when we have more films that have sort of taken the formula of Iron Man and made some variations to it to tell their origin, Homecoming specifically, even Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, things have been refined, but Iron Man still feels fully contained in a way that I appreciate.
Yeah, definitely.
But when it comes to Obadiah, I don't even think the first time I saw it, I was surprised when it was oh, he was the villain.
Yeah.
And my whole point of bringing up the formula of Iron Man being adapted for future films is Spider-Man Homecoming. That reveal, which I'm sure we're going to just talk about for 20 minutes when we get to Homecoming.
Yeah.
The reveal of the villain twist is so insane.
That's so well done.
It's such... Because, seeing the moment Obadiah turns in this film, it just pales in comparison to the way you, get the realization in Homecoming.
Yeah. You knew it the whole time. He was... Even not if he wasn't directly, he was still antagonistic to Tony in a way that you could kind of tell.
Yeah. So that's my biggest problem with it. The final act, or the final fight, I don't have as much beef with as most people do.
Yeah.
Because realistically, all things considered, if you have one dude who's kind of old in a giant clunky tank suit fighting some dude who has 20% of his suit power left, it's not going to be a long fight.
No.
Also, Tony did outsmart him. He used he didn't fully rely on the suit. He relied on his intelligence to overcome him. So I'm fine if it's a shorter fight. Don't overextend it if it's just going to be a slow, tanky Ironmonger guy marching around, Yeah, it's shot on film.
Yeah, but I mean, I might have known that at one point, but you just reminded me of that. That's interesting.
It looks so nice. I think Iron Man is my favorite looking MCU film out of all of them still.
Yeah.
Best composed, best cinematography, I feel like.
Do you like the score to this movie?
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
That is my biggest issue.
Do you not like the score either?
No, my biggest issue moving forward out of Phase 1, as we start to wrap up, is the characters' themes. I love the themes they have for these characters, and they never come back.
Yeah, no, they really don't.
It's a little more consistent now. Black Panther has his motif of the drums and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The Avengers has their theme, finally, after Ultron kind of dipped out of it. Guardians have their theme.
Yep.
But yeah, for the longest time, nobody had a consistent theme, which kind of sucks because the Iron Man theme, that heavy metal guitar, same composer as the Game of Thrones theme. Awesome. I love that so much.
Yeah. That's something I didn't realize till this rewatch. I didn't really like the score to this movie. And I know that I feel like it makes sense for the character, obviously the heavy metal, but nothing really stuck out to me. And I don't know. Maybe I couldn't define a certain theme for Tony. And it just didn't do it for me, honestly.
Yeah.
Like once like Michael Giacchino starts getting involved, it's like, okay, now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. Alan Silvestri also when he did Cap and then he went into Avengers.
Mhm.
Similar sounds, but like the Avengers theme is iconic at this point.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, closing out, one of my favorite moments in Iron Man is for sure the first test flight. Like
Oh,
when
yeah.
he's like, you got to run before you walk sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
It just flies out, the icing moment. I love that
It's
so
great.
much.
Yeah.
That's
And
still one of my favorite scenes.
I must say the fire extinguisher gag is like I love that. I
Yeah.
appreciate how that showed up in Iron Man 2 as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, so any closing thoughts on Phase 1 before we
I
things
wanted
up?
to pose this question. It's a really big question.
go for it?
Is this the worst phase of the Marvel Universe?
I would say it's the most inconsistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think Phase 2 has some,
Some
I want to
duds
say
in there.
clunkers.
Yeah,
but
there's some duds in there for sure.
at least it feels consistent the whole way through.
Right.
Which can be attributed to a variety of things. I think shooting on digital,
Mm-hmm.
while I'm not a fan of it, was the right choice to maintain like a consistency moving
Yeah.
forward. And we do get the Marvel formula, which I'm sure we're going to touch on at some point.
Right.
But yeah, Phase 1 is very weird. I think that helps it and also hurts it as far as building a universe. But critically, yeah, it's the worst
I think it is the worst.
out of them all.
Honestly, I feel like the phases get better as they go on, which I don't
Yeah.
think I would have thought that seeing these movies because I mean, just the nature of sequels, I feel like it's like no, they get worse and worse. But with Marvel, I feel like they get better and better. They're past 20 now, or they're getting to 20, and honestly, I feel like they are just increasing with quality as they go on, especially with Infinity War. Oh my god, like
Mhm.
it's the third Avengers movie, but it's like probably one of the best in the MCU, if not the best in the MCU.
Yeah, as far as culmination goes and everything like that, Infinity War is very impressive. Like
Mhm.
they definitely found their footing. They found something that works and they stuck with it.
Yeah.
For better or for worse.
Mhm.
Which I'm sure we'll get into deeper discussion in further episodes.
For sure.
I'm gonna use another weird analogy here.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's like if you have a kid and he plays sports, that's what like Phase 1 is. Like when he's like in the early stages of playing
Like
sports,
T-ball.
you still support him, but he sucks.
Sure.
Like it's good,
Yeah.
but like it's not what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he grows up
Yeah, that's fair.
He's playing college ball by Phase 3.
Mm-hmm.
by Phase 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's gone forever.
Nice.
So that wraps up everything we're going to talk about for episode 1 of Excelsior. Thank you, both you gentlemen, for joining on this
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
episode.
Thanks for having me.
If the people who are listening want to find you on your social medias or anything else you want to plug, go for it.
Yeah. You can follow me at Fascinated Jack on Twitter and Instagram. I have a video game podcast called The Polygonal Sunrise. It's a weekly video game briefing. It's about like 15 minutes every Monday. You can find that at Polygonal Pod on Twitter and on the Amherst Wire. And you can also find it on its own podcast streaming service on iTunes and Spotify.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Pat, is there anything you want to shout out?
On Twitter, I'm at VPMoron. My last name has moron in it.
Okay, there you go.
I rolled with it because I'm not smart. And I produce a bunch of podcasts for Amherst Wire. As Jack had previously said, I don't produce his show, but he's up there. A lot of great shows there. Go check them out.
All right. And you can follow me on Twitter at Chris N. Buckley. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're already on JoyClicks. This is where I put out a lot of content. We got a game podcast coming up soon. Working the kinks out on that. Hopefully, by either the time you're listening to this or by episode 2, we will have this on podcast services as well as YouTube. But until next time, do we got a good sign off?
I'm thinking of an Andy Cortez sign.
I know. I don't want to steal it though.
Yeah, I don't know. Swing back. Swing back.
We'll have a better
Yeah,
one next
we'll
week.
think of another one.
Thanks for watching.